Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today I want to look at a sort of metaphysical take on weight loss, and I want to give my perspective as somebody who has lost 150 pounds. I get to drop that now in the beginning of a video if I feel like it. But yes, as somebody who has lost a lot of weight, and as somebody who's, I'm in a vanity weight era right now. I don't really have to keep going if I don't want to, but I do. And so my journey has changed a lot, and I feel like I've worked in my vanity weight. Like I've kind of started to turn my vanity weight era into a spiritual journey as well. So I wanted to basically look at a spirituality take of weight loss and offer my perspective. So let's go ahead and read it. We're just going to read the post. I don't think we're going to get into like responses. I just thought it might be kind of interesting. So let's do this. How to lose weight. Your weight is a reflection of how much you judge yourself. Interesting. When focusing on losing weight, you're going about it backwards. You're focused on what you want to lose, i.e. the weight, but instead focus on what you want to gain, i.e. emotions. It's not about losing something you don't want. It's about gaining something you do want. Focus on inclusion, not exclusion. Okay, so I think already, I don't know if this would help a very big person, because a lot of times your emotions go down as you're losing, typically. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but it does cause hormone releases. It's a little bit stressful to the body. And especially from a big size, you can have pretty dramatic mood issues with weight loss. I used to describe it in 2023. I used to say that weight loss felt like a breakup. And it wasn't just because I was going through one at the time. It's because it makes you sad. You get waves of sadness, waves of anger, waves of everything similar to a breakup, which again, for me, they were happening at the same time back then. But that's the way I describe it. So think of how you feel emotionally during a breakup. That's how weight loss feels from a very big size on an emotional level. So when they say like you want to gain good emotions, what happens if you're not in the moment? You see? So I would still advocate to gain health, gain mobility. I'd still keep it physical for a very big person. Where I'm at today, in a vanity weight era, focus on what I want to gain. It's an interesting thought exercise from this perspective. I think about it in terms of essentially the conclusion I've come to is I want to focus on looks to balance out. It's going to sound really kind of corny, but whatever, you're going to have to deal with me. Literally to balance out my chakras. That's basically what I want to do. I sound so basic when I'm talking. I'm sorry. I'm cringe millennial. I'm a basic bitch. I told you. I warned you. I've told you guys I'm normal. So essentially, I'm a normal millennial girly pop, I guess. But that's essentially why. Because focusing on looks and vanity, it can help balance out my energy where I'm usually too high up. I'm I'm stuck in the higher chakras, basically, the higher vibrational chakras. I don't have enough in like the root, which for people who don't know what that means, it basically means I'm not grounded. I'm not grounded in reality all the time. I'm very like up in the air often, even like a lot of the time it's like I'm thinking about very big picture things. Like I think about my activism, the cause. I think about, a lot of these things. And so I feel like focusing on looks, which is a little bit more, on the ground and like rooted in reality, it helps to balance out that energy for me. So pursuing beauty is a part of a spiritual practice to balance out my soul, basically. And so I guess how I would think of it is I want to gain balance. So I still don't think emotions is a good way of looking at it. I could see, like, in some ways I want to gain self-respect, like a bit more self-respect, these kind of things, more self-possession. I think that there's better ways to talk about spiritual gifts or spiritual benefits rather than just saying emotions. I don't think emotions are spiritual. Emotions are very, I don't know, base, I guess. Animalistic. I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying the right things. Just, if you're here, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to this craziness. Okay. But focusing on the inclusion of those things and not the exclusion. So not like I want to get rid of this or get rid of that. I want to get rid of shame, get rid of negative qualities about myself. I could see that working in a spiritual journey because I try to think about it more positively. Like I want to gain balance. I want to gain beauty. I want to gain more self-respect or that kind of stuff. I want to gain, yeah, I guess that's basically where I'm at right now. Okay. So you're not pushing against weight. You're welcoming strength, beauty, and energy. Feel the difference? Okay. I like these better. These are better than emotions. I just didn't like the emotion. I think that was bad. That was kind of a flop. But this is good. Welcoming strength, beauty, and energy. I think that's a great mantra. I think that's a good thing to say in a weight loss journey. Your weight is a reflection of how much you judge yourself and you're holding yourself back. The weight is showing you that you're waiting to fully live your life and be yourself. You're waiting because you're waiting. Okay, it's a little corny, but I'm corny, so we're going to be there together. I told you guys, I'm on the Christmas Hallmark movie set now. I'm home for the holidays. I'm a basic bitch now. I'm in my basic bitch era. So, okay. I think that there is a certain feeling of like holding one's breath often in obesity and in being very big or being fat. I think that is a common feeling of like, gotta wait, I gotta hold my breath, right? So I think I always advocated to not be that way because I think what it tends to do is it puts thinness on a pedestal, but it also puts up too many barriers. So for a lot of people, they'll kind of use it as a weapon. So they'll say something like, I need to become thin so that I can get a different job, so that I can get a boyfriend, so that I can get this, so that I can get that, so that I can make more money, so that I can this, so that I can go out more, so that I can party, so that I can do this. And you see, like, it starts to be all of these changes that are tied into a physical body change, which is very high pressure. And I don't like that. That's why I've always pushed you guys to start living your life as much as you can as you lose weight, especially from a very big size, because you kind of evolve over the years. Like I was wearing a 2X shirt today because I sleep in a 2X shirt. And this shirt was so big on me, or so small on me, I literally couldn't wear it back in like 2022. And now it's like I'm absolutely swimming in it. It is huge on me. It's like getting so big, I can't even really sleep in it anymore. Or like after this summer, I'm getting rid of it. Basically because it's so ridiculously huge on me. And it's like I think about the years, I think about the time, I think about everything that happened and how much I've evolved since that shirt didn't fit. And because I lived as much as I could and because I did things as much as I could, I was able to evolve as that happened. So now that I'm here, it's not a big deal. And I think that's what you need to do, because you don't need it to be super overwhelming. You don't want to think of thinness as like the dam breaking and everything just rushes in. You need to think of it more like a trickle. So like things trickle through as you're doing it. And I think that that's a much better way psychologically to lose the weight and to think about it that in that sense. I think that that's helpful. But I do think that there is an element of waiting. Certainly within the toxic ritualistic, it's used as a weapon against yourself. So, and an excuse to not do things. So, oh, I can't do that because this. I think there's a lot of avoidance sometimes within the toxic ritualistic, within just obesity in general. I think there is a lot of avoidance in general. And I don't even just mean that in like an attachment style. I mean it even just like you are avoiding a lot of stuff in life, basically. I think people tend to avoid conflicts. They tend to avoid going out. They tend to avoid dating. They tend to avoid like a lot of these different things. So I think that all that stuff, it kind of goes into that. So I can agree with it on a deeper level, for sure. So instead of losing weight, why do you want to be thin? What do you want to add to your body and life? What emotions do you want to gain? Not a fan of the emotional thing still. I'm still not a fan of it. So quote, I want to gain feeling loved and accepted. Ooh, I don't know about that. I think that you have to be kind of careful with this, because this can keep you in the toxic ritualistic if you lean too heavily on it. Because a lot of the toxic ritualistic is social as well as internal. So it can create a drive to like keep going when you probably shouldn't, or it can create an incentive to quit if you're not accepted, or if somebody says something to you that you don't want to hear, you can't hear, then you give up. So I always have advocated for intrinsic motivation, internal motivation. It's the only thing that's going to get you through the dark times. It's the only thing that's going to get you through the times when you want to give up, is having an innate desire to do it yourself. It will get you through other people saying things. It will get you through toxic ritualistic reinforcement, aka E followed by the letter D. When people that have those issues, they try to get you to relapse because they want to protect their own coping mechanism. If you have intrinsic motivation, it protects you from that. So I don't like this. That's what I'm trying to say. I want to gain feeling safe and supported. Okay. I want to gain feeling stronger and empowered. Okay, I like this one. This one, the feeling safe and supported, I don't like, because again, it doesn't always happen in a weight loss journey. There's a lot of moments that I didn't feel safe as I was downsizing, or times where I felt vulnerable, or times where I felt exposed. So again, tying up emotions in all of this, I don't know if it's the best way to go about it. But I think a lot of times people don't always understand the difference between spirituality and emotions, like feelings versus like intuition, or whatever you want to call it. There's a difference between the two, which I think it can be helpful to understand that, because emotions are just very like, it's like a single color, it's like your primary colors. Intuition is like a mosaic, or like it's like a blend of different things, and it changes slowly over time, rather than emotions, can change at a minute by minute basis. So I think it's important to not base your journey on emotions. I'm going to keep saying that. I don't think it's good, but we'll continue. So feeling stronger and empowered, I like that. That one is better. It's a little bit less emotional. It's a little bit more grounded. I want to feel attractive, sexy, and cute. I think that this is okay. This is kind of like you just want to make sure that your health is above that. I'll put it to you that way. But other than that, I think it's fine. I want to add feeling more comfortable and secure. I think definitely feeling more comfortable. After downsizing, you will feel more comfortable, typically. If we're talking like just laying in bed, sitting on a plane, right? Things like that, it's definitely there. Secure, perhaps secure in oneself, but that needs to be cultivated as a part of a journey. It's not guaranteed. I want to add more understanding and appreciation. So this has to do with how we treat others and how we express ourselves, which again, can and should be worked on throughout a journey. I want to feel more validated by myself. I want to feel lighter and have more fun. So I think this is good. I like this one. If we're going to talk feelings, I do like that one. I think it's a nice goal. I think it's still something you have to cultivate, especially throughout a journey. And it can be tough, as you may feel very bored throughout the journey sometimes. I want to feel more validated by myself. I think if we're talking toxic ritualistic, you have to get to a place of neutrality. I think that's my honest opinion. Like, that's the starting point, is neutrality. So you need to just stop feeling so much about yourself or how you look. Like, just like take it down a notch, just start to like be neutral, particularly about your body. And that can take a lot of pressure off. And then as the years go by, then you can think more about like how you look and stuff like that. Like, you have to kind of earn that back if you're deep in the toxic ritualistic. That's my opinion. Okay. I want to feel loved and appreciated by my body. Okay, that's an interesting one. I want to feel pride in taking care of myself. I like this one a lot. That's good. These ones are a little bit better. I want to add more muscle in a toned body. Love it. I want to gain flexibility and quick reflexes. I like that too. These are all more rooted. I like these. I like this one because I like the idea of aspiring to be appreciated by your body. Your body does want to be taken care of. And I really love this. I love this one. I might actually steal it. I love that. I think that that's a very good way to think about it. I want to gain more effective uses of the foods I eat and nutrients I receive. I want to eat foods that are a win-win, satisfying both me and the cells of my body. I like these. I want to feel supported by my body. I want to gain a healthier and more harmonious relationship with my body. Yes. I think I still, relationship, I think is a little, it can be kind of risky. I would just say I want to gain a healthier view of my body. That would be good. I want to gain a healthier and more realistic view of my body. I like that one. I like that version better. I want to gain more eagerness and fun. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to cultivate this in yourself, but it's just some of these things are not guaranteed in weight loss. You do have to cultivate it. But I know for me, when I got towards small fat, I did have more fun again in a certain sense. And then it all went away when I became mid-size. And then I was like a gross mid-size princess. And I was not fun anymore. And then I was like all the time. So it died. But it was fun for a minute when I was brat. I want to gain more excitement for life. Okay. I think like cultivating these things within yourself will help you along the journey. But I think we can still think about it as a little bit more, like a little bit separate from the actual process. Like these are like spiritual things to do in tandem that I think would help with the goal. Like if you have more excitement for life, it will help you. You know, you find excitement in life rather than in food, for example. You are more eager to try new things, or you're more eager to go out or have more fun. That's going to help you sustain you on a journey. And I feel like these are certain things that I need to do now. Like I need to be more open to fun in my life. I need to be more open to things. Like I went and saw The Conjuring because I love those movies, and I went to see it with my grandma, and it was very enjoyable. I loved it. And I made sure to make time to just do that because it's fun. You know, so I do think that that does help sustain you during this process. I want to gain more excitement for life. Again, it's something that has to be cultivated within you. I want to gain an I want to gain an energized body ready to explore the world. Okay, I want to allow love and smiles to flow through my body. Okay, I don't think that's wrong to say, but I guess I'm not there yet. I'm like, I don't know. But okay. I want to feel like my body and I are a team working together for a healthier me. I think this is great. I love that. That actually helped me a lot. When I finally stopped viewing my body as the enemy, which that happened, I think, around 2021, 2022 for me, when I started to realize like my body's base drive is survival. So even if at times my body was misguided or my body and mind connection were misguided, ultimately my physical body was trying its hardest to keep me alive. And I think it's important to keep that perspective because you don't want to feel like your body's the enemy. That is not good. It's too much resistance-based weight loss, which it can make it hard to sustain over the long haul. And it's too triggering for the toxic ritualistic as well. So I love that one. Okay. After you gain the emotions you want, then you'll be inspired to eat healthier and exercise, not to lose weight, but because it feels better. Because your body wants to play, your body wants to move and express itself. And when you do activities because you enjoy it, you'll stick with it, and the result of weight loss will naturally take care of itself. I honestly, I'm a tracking girly pop. I think you need to track. So I know everybody hates it when I say that, but I think you should count. Sorry. For the most part. Especially if you're starting from a huge size. I think you should keep track. And then again, you're not always going to enjoy the gym. You're not always going to enjoy... There are times where I don't want to go to the gym. There are times where it's a slog. So I don't like that. It's too emotional, too emotionally based. Not good. Okay, my relationship with food is toxic, which is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. Okay, that's an interesting take. Food can simply be a coping mechanism to not have to sit with uncomfortable emotions. Okay, I like to describe the toxic ritualistic as anxiety. I think what happens is we have uncomfortable emotions. Those emotions cause anxiety, and that's what triggers the response. So I think always remember that anxiety is a part of BINGE. It's a huge part of it. It's typically what precipitates because you can be happy and your happiness will make you anxious and then you want to BINGE. So you have to think about it. You can feel relief and you feel anxious about feeling relieved. Like people don't think about it that way. But again, I think this post in general is just very obsessed with emotions, which honestly, it's kind of how America is in general. So it might be part of why we have such an issue with obesity. I think there's too much of a focus on emotion within discussions of obesity, but also there's a complete rejection of all emotion too. Like, I feel like there's not enough balance sometimes. So that's just my opinion. It's just like a side take. Anyways, since your emotional needs aren't being met in other areas of your life, instead they are being met, aka masked or dulled, with food. I still think anxiety. I think you're not facing your anxiety. You're not dealing with your anxiety. You're not feeling your anxiety. You're trying to numb it. Anxiety is very unpleasant. It's a very unpleasant feeling. It's different than sadness or anger. It's awful. It can feel awful on a physical level, and you can feel crazy. So you want to be INGE to not feel that way. And I'm always like, just feel it. You know, like I said, I'm a huge promoter of the good old crash out. You know, I used to always say, and I'll still say it to this day, like, do not be INGE. If you have to sit there and scream and cry in your room, you know, scream into a pillow, to not be INGE, scream into that fucking pillow. Because it's better to do that. It's better to look ridiculous. It's better to sound crazy. It's better to, everything is better than be INGE. Because none of that shit is going to kill you. And you don't want to hurt anybody or yourself. Duh. But a feeling is not going to kill you. Anxiety is not going to kill you in and of itself. And you have to face the fear of it. You have to face the fear of facing the anxiety. And then once you've done it once, even one time, then it's easier to not do it the next time. It gets weaker. You think of it like each time you don't listen to the toxic ritualistic, it gets weaker. Weaker, weaker, weaker. You wake up. You get out of it. It's a slow waking up process. It is. Okay? And it can take years to wake up out of it, but as long as you're on a path, you're going to get out. But there is a lot of anxiety within that process. Okay. Typically, when people don't like their body, the illusion is that your emotions will change when your body changes. That's interesting. But since emotions come from your thoughts, how you feel will remain the same regardless of how you look. I think that's interesting. I think I'll still talk about it a little bit more psychologically, but I would say that if you don't get rid of the coping mechanism, which a part of the coping mechanism is hating the way you look, then you will hold on to that even if you look better. You'll still continue to hold on to that because it's also a part of the coping mechanism, which is not talked about enough within BINGE. You often cannot stand the way you look. And that's part of what fuels the cycle. And you have to let that go. And that can be very hard to let go of. And I would say, you know, I have not relapsed at all in this whole journey since 2020, as I told you guys. That's basically when it was kind of do or die. And I just was like, I have to stop now. And I just stopped. And I never did it again because I was like dying, basically. Not even basically, but yeah, I was near death. So I had to kind of do or die. And it was like, okay, I really rode this out as long as I possibly could. I have to stop immediately. So I did. And basically, when you stop, you typically have an obsession transfer that happens. So if you don't allow yourself to be INGE, which you shouldn't, then you will start to become neurotic or think about something else. And you want to make sure that that something else is not dangerous or harmful. So it can be a TV show. In my case, it was a car. It was my car. You know, it was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I'm nervous. Something's going to be wrong with the car. Something's going to be wrong with the car. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And when I got into a car accident in 2023, it was like my worst fear was in it. It wasn't like a, you know, I didn't die or anything. Like, obviously I'm still here. It wasn't like a dangerous one. It was just like, I was so anxious about my car because I hadn't been BINGing since 2020, and this was now 2023. So I had already transferred completely onto my car. And the car accident, it was so incredibly triggering to me. And it was so wild. And I think that when that happened, that's when I realized that my anxiety beneath the toxic ritualistic had been put onto my car, because it was so intense. And I couldn't handle getting the car fixed. I couldn't call anybody. I couldn't go to a place. Like, I was frozen. Like, I would be frozen in like this massive anxiety spell. And I had no idea that that's where that was coming from. It was all of the anxiety behind the toxic ritualistic being put onto the car. So while it was, my way was weird, it might be weird, I survived and I got out, and I eventually processed that anxiety. I had to have my family help me to get the car fixed, and it was a process. It was very difficult, and I had to deal with that anxiety. I would have panics and stuff, and this is all from psychological effects of not taking part of these behaviors. So you have to understand that the toxic ritualistic comes from the anxiety, and that feeling I had, that terror I felt of getting my car fixed or dealing with my car or having the car accident happen, that's what I was avoiding within the toxic ritualistic. And it's likely, if you're severe in it or even highly moderate, you might have fears that deep, and you have to face that. And I did, and eventually I got over it. And then it was done. Then the anxiety was gone. And then I went into a tortured era, which you guys know. I just made a post about it recently, because once all that was gone, then I was dealing with the legacy of the toxic ritualistic. I was dealing with the after effect, because it was over. It was completely over. It almost felt like exercising a demon to deal with that anxiety in 2023. It was crazy, but it led to an identity crisis and all these things. You have to remember, though, I was very severe within the toxic ritualistic, but the ultimate answer is to face the fear, and people don't want to do that. And I know you don't want to hear it, but you have to, because if avoiding that, it will kill you. Okay? So it's tough. It's tough. I think at lower levels, there's still elements of anxiety there. It just might not be as bad. But for me, it was very bad. So I had very intense experiences psychologically with the transfer of my obsession and anxiety onto my car. But I was able to deal with it, and it wasn't about my body anymore. It wasn't about me. So it didn't kill me. That's what I'm trying to say. So if that happens to you, make sure it's not harmful. That's what you need to do. Because oftentimes people they usually have to be obsessed with something after, because it's too hard to go from being so obsessed about this to not having any obsession. Like, at this point, I get obsessed with everything all the time. It's like I kind of just go from topic to topic, and I get all researchy and stuff, and it's a little bit more normal, but it's still like a part of my personality, and it might be a part of yours too. I do think you have to be somewhat obsessive to have the toxic ritualistic. So just, it's okay, It's okay. It's okay if you look weird. It's okay. A lot of people are scared of being weird in the toxic ritualistic. It is okay. Being weird will not kill you, Okay, let's continue. So if you force yourself to diet and exercise and hate the process, you either won't lose weight, or even if you do, you still won't be happy, which is the main reason you want to lose weight. And then you'll probably end up gaining the weight back. So I would say that this can happen if you're too focused on resistance-based weight loss. So this is very tricky. Because when you are super morbidly obese, you have to have resistance-based weight loss. So if you're starting from that level, you have to resist obesity. You have to fight it. It is not a passive process. You have to fight it to get out. It's like being in a pit. You have to climb out of the pit of super morbid obesity. So, and that can take a long time because people can be very big, and it can take over a year, 2 years to get out of super morbid obesity. So by the time you get out of it, and you still have to kind of be in that resistance-based weight loss, or you have to think more about negativity within like morbid obesity, because people tend to still be very depressed within morbid obesity or struggle with it. So you have to use those negative emotions to motivate you and propel you forward. However, this can be really difficult when you get to small fat and mid-sized zones, because you have to start to get over resistance-based weight loss. You have to start shifting it and making it a bit more fun. In my small fat era, when I was brat, I was just like, I went from that tortured aspect of like, I'm so unhappy with my life, and I'm so unhappy with where I'm at, and oh my God, I'm so behind, and da, 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 da. I used all those negative emotions to keep me going forward in the tortured era. When I was small fat, it was more about, oh my God, this whole process is ridiculous. What I'm doing is ridiculous. This is crazy. I'm just going to do it anyway. Ah. It's kind of made light of it. You know, it was like, gosh, like I'm just working so hard and I'm pushing and pushing and pushing. It's kind of insane, but I'm just going to whine about it every day and I'm just going to do it. Oh my God, aren't I so funny? Isn't it crazy how I'm doing this? You kind of change the attitude, you see? It's like, oh my gosh, I feel so sore. Oh my gosh, I feel so miserable. Oh my gosh, I feel tired as hell. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm drunk or whatever. It's like I feel stupid, or you just laugh at yourself. Like you become less serious. But when you're mid-sized, then you really have to let go of resistance-based weight loss in that phase. Because often what happens is you don't have enough negative feelings to keep you going. So you start to create them. So you start to create drama. You start to create problems. You start to get into conflicts all the time. You start to do this stuff because it's like, I want an enemy. I need this to be a revenge journey. I need this. Like you start to have these types of feelings because you're holding on to a resistance-based weight loss. So the whole idea is you're keeping yourself unhappy so that you'll continue forward, which it makes sense if you started out bigger because you had to start that way. And that shift is very difficult. It was even very hard for me. It was so alien to me in March that when I wasn't stressed and I was on vacation in Cali in March and I could just chill, I ate like a hog, basically. And I just didn't have any discipline because I didn't have any, I didn't have anything other than resistance. So then by the time I went to Austin in April, I had had that first taste of it in March. So by April, I could kind of cope a little bit better. And I was like, okay. So I was better that time. And then as time went on, then I got more and more used to it. And then I had a lot of time off because my work is slow in July and I still was disciplined. So it started to really shift, but it was a process and you have to kind of experiment with it sometimes. Like, let me take myself out of a stressful situation, see how I do. You know what I'm saying? So think of it that way too. Like, it's a process, but it has to occur. And it especially needs to occur in that mid-size phase or you can stay miserable forever. I'm not miserable anymore. Like I said, if anything, I'm, chemtrails over the country club. I'm washing my hair and doing the laundry every day. So it's just kind of incredibly normal, which is a weird feeling. It's neutral. It's a neutral feeling. But I can continue even feeling neutral because I don't have resistance-based weight loss anymore. So again, use it for the times that it's appropriate. Get rid of it in the mid-size phase. It's not helpful anymore. You can try to use that small fat phase to transition out try to make the process more fun at that time. But you really got to let go of it in mid-size, because you won't, it's really hard to continue, or you'll just base your progress on how much you hate the way you look, which is not good. Okay. Gosh, I'm really going deep with this. Goodness. Your physical body is a reflection of your belief body. Your body is your mirror, reflecting the heavy limiting beliefs you're consuming every day. So you want to work out your belief body, letting go of limiting beliefs for it to then reflect in your physical body. I will say, from a vanity weight perspective, I think this is actually really good advice. I think where I'm at today, I think this is real for me at this point. I think when you reach a place of neutrality and you're not moody all the time, or your moods and anxieties and things like that are not being affected by obesity, and you have that clarity, that post-obesity clarity, I think then these self-limiting beliefs, they can be make or break. You know, if you have a super limiting belief in a vanity weight era, maybe it'll stress you out a bit and it'll make you bloat or something, and then it's harder to lose. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to think of it that way. That little bit extra stress can be the difference between having abs and not, you know? So I think it works in a vanity weight era. Like for me at this stage, I think letting go of limiting beliefs, I think it actually will help me to break a plateau. You know what I'm saying? Like part of my anemia journey, I've thought about it, you know, spiritually, anemia and people pleasing are connected. So as I've been working on my anemia, I've been working on people pleasing tendencies that I still have, or, you know, there are elements of it. Again, I'm not that way with all of society in general, but I have been that way with people in my life and stuff. So I'm letting that go. So these limiting beliefs of like, I have to do this or I have to do that, letting some of that stuff go, it's like allowing me to put the energy back into myself. And then I think it's helping me heal and rest, you see? So I think that this is good advice from the vanity weight era. I really do. Because the margins are just so thin that something like that can make a difference. It really can. So the weight isn't the problem, it's an indicator to the solution. Okay, interesting. Your body is doing its best to keep you happy and healthy based on the resources, emotional and physical, you give it. I agree with this. If it seems like your body isn't doing a good job of supporting you, that means you're not doing a good job of supporting it. I agree with this too. I agree. So support yourself and your body by being more understanding, appreciative, playful, and having more fun. I think especially mid-size era, my mid-size peeps, you need that if you're having an MSP crisis. You have to cultivate that. So just be aware of that. Like that must be cultivated. Yeah. The emotional and physical weight will get lighter as you start to lighten up on yourself. Interesting. So let me know what you guys think. That was I liked that. I felt like this did spark a good discussion. I felt like I was able to give a lot of advice in this video. And I appreciate this post for helping me to organize my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stuck with it, thank you so much. Love y'all. And let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.